Hello, hello! Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. So, uh, today I'm going to be splining out a shot, the shot that I worked on yesterday. So I'll probably just jump in right away. I don't have a huge amount of time today, as much as I would like. So we'll probably go an hour or two, maybe 3, we'll see how it goes. But let's just dive right in here. So let's switch over, and there we go. So this is the shot that I was working on yesterday. Yesterday we did the basic blocking of the shot, which is basically just the initial pass. So this is what we ended up having from the last stream. Now, this character is going to be pulling off a cloth here. The whole point of this shot is to create a cloth simulation. So there's going to be a cloth draped over here, and he's going to be grabbing it and then pulling it off and then letting go. So that's kind of the whole point of this here. But before we get to the cloth simulation, I have to finish the animation first. So let's just dive right in here. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is, before I even start going into splines, I want to do a very basic face pass here. Because as you can see, he is looking extremely bland right now. So let's get in there first. Also, I'll do a face pass and a hand pass first. Now, let's see. I'm trying to think what I want to do first, hands or face. I might do just a very basic finger pass first. Now fingers, they're not going to change too much. Here they're just going to hold. Now it's in this moment here, I kind of want to shape them a little bit better. So as this pulls, or as this hand rotates, I kind of want these fingers to start anticipating that motion as well. Let's try to get that wiggle out of his finger right there. That's a little better. So like that, where the finger isn't just kind of staying in the same shape, it's kind of coming in. And actually, let's see if I can push it even more the other way. So it's kind of like the big motion before he comes down. So it's just going to exaggerate this finger here is going to come up a little bit, straighten that one, and then this is going to kind of come up a little bit more, something like that. So we're just getting into that little bit of a flex in there. Don't forget the thumb. So he's kind of opening his hand up for the grab just slightly. It's an anticipation. Now as he comes down, I don't want this finger closing in just yet. And I don't want to overlap the fingers too much, where they're just kind of dragging way behind. Fingers don't really overlap too much. If it was a really cartoony shot, I could do that. But for this, I'm going to keep it a little bit more, I don't want to say simple, but more realistic. Let's see. Finger up a little bit more. Still trying to keep a nice spacing on the fingers there. I don't want them to feel like they're evenly spaced or just kind of boring. I want them to be dynamic and interesting, where there's interesting spacing on these fingers here. Something like that. Again, the thumb, can't forget that. No, I want to avoid having the thumb point directly at the camera here. Oops, this control. Something like that. Okay, now, let's see, make sure I save here. And this is going to be where he grabs the sheet here. Now, the actual grabbing part is going to be right in between here. So it actually, on frame 61, this is going to be the actual grab motion. So on frame 60 here, I kind of want to push this a little bit more. Let's drag his hand back a little bit, just to get that nice swinging motion that we'll get in here. A little too much there. Okay. So on this frame, his hand is just going to start closing. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about what the fingers back here are doing. But as he's closing his hand, typically when we close our hands, we start from the outside in, like that. Pinky first, and then come in. So that's kind of what I want to get here. It's not going to be quite closed. I want the snappy, like, very fast closing motion here. But I can start anticipating it with the other fingers here. Okay. And just to kind of, hey Sin, how's it going? Hey, you're, oh, it's going pretty well. Do you need a password to watch Twitch? I always forget. Or can you just kind of jump in without an account? But how's it going? I hope you're having a great week so far. I just saw, hey Daniel, how's it going? I just saw your picture, Sin, on from the Golden Gate Bridge. Those were awesome. Oh, so you can watch but you can't comment. Okay, that makes sense. Am I the only one here? I think, Daniel, it's you and Sin. I'm not sure if there's anyone else in here. I don't have... It's been 2 hours. Ooh, a 2-hour update. That hurts. Yeah, I can't see a super exact number of people in here. It does update, but it's not the most accurate. So I don't like kind of going off of that, typically. But we have a small group today. San Francisco is incredible. I really love San Francisco whenever I get to visit. So much fun. Let's see. No, is that going to be too much? No, that's... I'll just have to get some in-betweens in there. I went to Pixar to see if I could see the gate, but there's nothing to see from the outside. Yeah, it's to get into the studios, you need special permission from someone inside the studio. And then is a very big... you have to plan it a few days in advance. You have to know someone there. They have to vouch for you to get in. It's a big thing. But it is really awesome if you do get the chance someday to go in there. Uh, it's I've been to some of the studios like a few times now, visiting friends and mentors and whatnot, and it's always so awesome. I can't say anything about it because when you go in, you have to sign NDA agreements, non-disclosure agreements, which is understandable because it's their workplace. It would be like just someone coming into my office someday and going, "Hey, can I have a tour?" So they're all working on some really cool projects, and like it's their actual workplace. So can't say too much, but it's so cool if you can at least kind of get a little tour or even just meet someone there for lunch. That's always fun. At least Disney Studios had a sign outside. Pixar doesn't. I knew I couldn't get in, but it was so sad that not even a sign. Yeah. Well, at Pixar there is the gate. There's the big Pixar gate with the logo on top, and on the driveway inside you can see a Cars 3 logo, and then there's the seagulls on top of the building that you can see from the road. It's a really cool place. Jane was telling us about the internship they have there every summer, and I want to get that so bad. Yeah, the internships are pretty cool. I know a few people who got in on the Disney and on the Pixar. Was it the Disney internships or the Pixar internships this year? Or sorry, last year. And it was so cool. So much good work from those internships. The gate is hard to find. It's kind of like nestled in around the building there. But if ever you get a chance to go again, it would be worth checking out if you can. Let's see. Trying to figure out how I want these fingers to kind of close on this thing here. I think I want to go a little bit bigger. I want to go flashy. He is a showman here. Okay, so then close his hand. That's good. Let's look at this pose a little bit more. That's not bad. The angle of the wrist here is not good though. I need a friend there to give me a tour. That's the best way to do it. If you can have a tour of the place, that is so much fun. And even if it's just kind of going in the lobby and just seeing the area in there, so cool. I want to reset his wrist here. I was getting some odd rotations where his wrist was kind of bulging a little bit, so I want to reset that. And this is something where on pretty much any rig, if you start rotating things a little too haphazardly, you can start getting into some weird poses. I'm looking forward to going to California for CTN. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Cameron and I usually end up going every year because we help out with some studio tour stuff and with the Animation Mentor booth, as well as some other random things, whatever we can kind of help out with. And it's so much fun every year, especially getting to meet all the students and the staff. It's the one time of year Cameron and I can actually meet everyone in person. Okay, so let's see. This is gonna be when he lets go, so I really want this big motion here. Just looking at my own finger for reference here. If you see me kind of looking down, I'm just kind of posing out my hand as if trying to imagine if I threw this thing, how my hand would be positioned. Let's kind of make the finger spacing a little bit more interesting here. Something like that. The thumb can be a little bit further out, I think. Yeah, I owe you a cookie, Daniel, and I know some good bakeries in that area, so I'd bake one myself and bring it down. But bringing baked goods through customs, especially when it's like your own baked goods and not something you bought in a package, it's kind of asking for a little trouble. Let's see. Why the cookie? Daniel, what was it? I forget exactly why I owe you a cookie. What was you answered a question, right? And I bet that if anyone could answer the question, you'd get a cookie. Was that it? It was something like that. But whatever it was, I owe him a cookie. And I want to get a big cookie, not just like, oh, a little cookie like that. No, it's gonna be, but wherever I can get a big like monster cookie. Oh, that's what it was. It was Yoshi. Whoever could guess the music, and it was a Yoshi collection. That's what it was. Okay, so he throws the hand up here. Now, this I actually want to change the hand angle here. Kind of open it up just a tad. There, and then there. And then close it off there. You can never get too big of a cookie. Exactly. Cookies, they just go from small to better. It just gets better and better and better. Let's see. I'm just going to reduce the rotation in his elbow here. I want to avoid him looking like he's putting his fingers right to his armpit there. Okay. Now the actual finger pose. It's not going to be too different from what I have here. Let's see. So this finger is going to come out. Like that. The thumb. Must make it a little bit bigger. But then the difference is going to be these fingers are going to be a little bit more curled in. So let's see. And you can see as soon as I do that, now it's really looking like he's just sticking his hand into his armpit there. So I'm going to have to move that hand out. And let's not push the fingers too far. And the reason I want to do this, where I want to kind of push the hand pose and kind of curl the fingers in a little bit more, is simply to get a little bit more variety in the hand poses. So if someone's paying attention to the hands, they don't see that, oh, it doesn't really change throughout. At the beginning, it's going to be a little bit more taunt, a little bit more like splayed out, and then at the end, it's going to be a little bit more relaxed. Make sure I save. You can never save too often. Well, the only time you can save too often is when if you spend most of your time saving instead of actually animating or making any progress. That would be a little too much, I guess. Okay, so now with this, I can just take this hand pose and I'm going to copy it to the end there. and then here as well, since the hand kind of just hits that pose right at the end. Now we've got that. So very subtle hand animation on here, but I don't want it to be all shaky. Okay. Now let's do this hand here as well. You know, I do the let's guess the song game here, but I think everyone would probably get them right away. I'd owe too many people cookies with this playlist here. I'd have to downsize my cookies. Go with the little mini ones, the 1-bite cookies. Although it can be argued that any cookie can be a 1-bite cookie if you're really dedicated. Oh, and there's my cat. He agrees with me. Yeah, actually that reminds me when I went for graduation, when my brother and I graduated from Animation Mentor. We were at a meetup in a park with a bunch of alumni, which was a lot of fun. It was basically one of the first times we could hang out in person with all these people we'd been in school with for like a year and a half. And they were having a Krispy Kreme eating contest where you had to eat a Krispy Kreme donut in 1 bite. So you just had to put it all in your mouth and eat it. It was the first time we ever had a Krispy Kreme, and I really wanted to just take my time and enjoy it because I had heard there's no Krispy Kreme where I am in Canada, and I don't even know if they have Krispy Kreme in Canada at all, really. So I wanted to really enjoy it and like have fun, or not have fun, really just taste and savor this donut because, well, as a baker, that's kind of donuts and cookies and baked goods, breads and stuff. I really enjoy like trying to figure out how it was made and whatnot. But everyone just wanted us to do the 1 bite challenge, so I think that was really the only time we've ever really had a Krispy Kreme. I don't know if we ever had one afterwards. So the only Krispy Kreme donut we ever had, we had to finish in 1 bite. It was very good though. Even with just that 1 bite, it was very, very tasty. Let's see, let's kind of bring this wrist back here. I'm trying to get a nice pose, a nice finger silhouette here. Let's maybe bring this finger back up here, and then maybe bend this one down just a little bit. I don't want to get too detailed on here just yet, because I will be adjusting the wrists and polishing things up. So now this hand pose minus the wrist can be copied over to the end there. I can add a little bit of a moving hold to it. And then I'll also put it here. Now, let's transition. So, on this pose, let's see. Oh, oops. I just twisted all his fingers. I thought I had the wrist selected. That would have been painful. Let's see. Did you manage to finish in 1 bite? Yeah. They're big, but they're pretty squishy, apparently. Which I did not think. Most of the donuts we used to make were like more of the yeast donuts. They weren't like the soft, really airy ones. So when they were saying that, oh, let's do the 1 bite challenge, it's like, how are you gonna put a whole donut in your mouth and not choke? But they're pretty squishy, so I wasn't terrible. Still had to kind of stop talking and just kind of focus on not choking for a few minutes there, but it was still fun. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Now, one thing you'll notice when I'm doing this, in this view, the hand pose looks that looks like a pretty decent hand pose. In my shot camera, it looks pretty terrible. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this shot camera is very small right now. So we're missing out a lot of pixel detail. If I was to make this bigger, suddenly we see the fingers much nicer, much clearer. Also, when we turn on anti-aliasing, that's going to make a big difference as well in creating more legibility in the shot camera. So I'm kind of just keeping it small so I can see the overall silhouette because it's all pixelated there. Sorry, I missed the story. Who challenged you to eat a donut in one bite? It was one of the our classmates, Cameron and I, when we graduated. I forget exactly who it was. Everyone was kind of gathered around eating donuts at the time, so I forget exactly who started the challenge. Let's see. I'm gonna space that out a little bit more. Okay, now here. Let's kind of make this motion bigger here. So this hand is really not going to change all that much until maybe here. I'm going to just start straightening things out a little bit. I don't want to really drag the fingers or make them look like they're like hair or something soft and it's just dragging. But I do want to make it feel like that they're stretching a little bit because of the speed. That the hand being pulled is creating this just tension in the fingers. How do you change orientation from global to local, please? You can do it in two ways. Let me save first. The first way, and this is kind of the slow way, is to just either select your move, rotate, or scale tool, and double click on the icon here on the left side of Maya. So if I double click on there, you can see there's object mode, and then I can switch to all the different components in there. If I switch to my rotation, well, now this is my rotate settings. I can switch from everything in there. So that's kind of the default way of doing it. I don't like doing that personally because it's slow. I don't like having to double click, okay, change. Oh, now I've got less space. Close this. Do something. Oh, now it's got, like, now I have to change it again. Go back in. So what I do is I hit Control Shift on the keyboard and then right click in the viewport, and this will bring up the manipulator hotbox. So here I can switch from object to world to gimbal, or even I could set a custom axis right there, all through here. So world mode, shift right click, or shift control right click, object, and super quick I can switch it right there without having to open new menus or move my mouse away from the shot that I'm animating. Let's see, is there any way to find all the recorded Q&As that y'all include in the survival guides? Let's see, the survival guide hasn't come out yet. We were actually shoveling snow just until like a few minutes before the stream started. So the survival guide's being worked on actually right now. But you can find all of the in that link there on the old campus site under the resources page. You can find all the recorded Q&As and lectures in there. Let's see. Yeah, I still need to figure out how to get those links working in here. Because I can see the link that you posted just fine, but I need to go through the moderation settings on Twitch again. Either that or I'll need to get a mod in here. Let's see. I want to make the hand a little bit more. Maybe something like that. Let's straighten out these fingers just a little bit. And let's just make the fingers a little bit more interesting here, silhouette-wise. Something like that. And I'm just going to curl these in just a tad. Just to make that hand pose and silhouette a little nicer. Hey Kokomojo, how's it going? Oh, Sin, thank you so much for subscribing again. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you. That's awesome. Let's see. I now get the hang of your stream schedule. Oh, yeah. My stream schedule, I don't know if it's the best right now. I want to make it so that more people can attend, because I know, especially on Sundays, people tend to be really busy. So I might, right now it's kind of stable right now, but I might kind of tweak things. If you want the stream schedule, down below, if you scroll down, there's actually a countdown timer. I thought it was automatic. If it's a if it's a regular subscription, it's automatic, I believe. It's just if it's a Twitch Prime subscription, I think you have to renew it every month. And basically, I think the reason Twitch does that is the Twitch Prime subscription is kind of used as a way of like every month you can give it to someone different, and kind of because it's kind of automatic. I have the same thing. I have a Twitch Prime account, and it's a way of, or sorry, Amazon Prime, Twitch Prime. Oh yeah, that is Gaston's theme. I've got a Disney piano playlist for this stream. Yeah, with Twitch Prime, I think that's what it's called. You have to renew it every time, which it's kind of a pain, but at the same time, like I said earlier, it's a cool way of being able to just kind of give that extra little subscription to someone different every month. You're here for the long run. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really liking how Twitch, I watch a lot of Twitch streams, especially for sculpting and animation, and a few artists that are that I've met either during CCN or other conventions and things like that. And I really like how Twitch has made this platform that allows creators, especially artists and animators, musicians, all of these people, to be able to work on their craft, the thing that they love to do, and also not what's the right word I'm looking for? Not be constrained to the final product. So what I mean by this is instead of having to just kind of work on a product and then put it out and the audience only ever gets to see the final product, with Twitch it's really cool because you can watch them work on it and watch their process and have a conversation with them while they're working on something. And I've had a lot of great conversations with artists on Twitch just while they're working, and then they release their art and then you get to see that afterwards. And it's cool that there's this platform that allows for that, instead of just kind of waiting for the final product and then like you have to wait another month or two before you see something else. And this goes especially for people like people working on 2D short films and stuff. That's a long process, and being able to have that, I don't want to say promotion, it's not promotion, but just that kind of interaction with people while you're working on something is super nice. Even for me, like with my streams, I tend to do demos and things like that. But typically I would be recording these demos and just kind of recording it for to be posted later on. And all of this stuff, like this splining and all of this for a cloth demo, I would end up doing just in my own free time, if I have time, and then I would just record the actual cloth sim part because that's the actual demo that's been requested for this. But with Twitch, I can kind of show the whole process, and I don't know if it's helpful or not for people, but it doesn't limit things to just the one final product. And there's so much cool stuff that you can learn from seeing artists working on something. And again, this is not me going, oh look, you can learn everything from me. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, me personally, I have learned so much from watching artists. Especially I've been trying to do more 2D work, and getting to see an artist's process on something like Twitch, or there's also like Picarto and something else I've seen a few people use. It's just this really cool way of seeing that, yeah, as much as we see the final product a lot of the time when people work on stuff, getting to see the actual process, you realize that a lot of people use undo a lot. It's not just this, oh, I'm an artist and look, I'll place this everything and it's perfect, one line, done. So many artists I've seen, like, they'll do a line, undo, line, undo, line, undo, line, undo, line, that's pretty close, undo anyway, line again, okay, that's what I want. And it's just like, that's what I do. Now I don't feel bad about it. It's, people don't get things right on the first time, but what makes a really great artist is basically their dedication to not give up after the 10th line. And they just keep on going. So I really love this platform for that. And then D&D stuff too. I love the D&D channels on Twitch. I'm a sucker for those, especially the Acquisitions Incorporated and Waffle Crew. Let's see, you're also doing therapy while animating about stress confidence. Yeah, those are things that I don't want to say they're passion projects. But it's stuff I've had to deal with a lot in the past, and I'm still dealing with in many ways. And it's one of those things that if ever I can help someone avoid going through that kind of stressful situations that I've had to go through before, in terms of not liking my own work or just the stress of this kind of job, where like, you can see I'm working on fingers right now. We've been going for about 45 minutes already. Wow, already 45 minutes, and I've just worked on fingers. That's it. I was hoping to do the face as well today, but that's the job. And sometimes it can be stressful, and there's so many things that have to be learnt and dealt with. So if there's ever anything I can do to help someone avoid that, or like really just progress with their work and find that love of their work, it's something I really want to work on, is that kind of positivity. D&D definitely life lessons with poor amazing. Thank you. Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. I've only ever played 3 games of Dungeons. 3. My other finger. It's down. There you go. So I've only ever played 3 games of Dungeons and Dragons, but it's my favorite game of all time. That and role-playing games in general, Pathfinder, things like that, Call of Cthulhu, Dungeon World. I've personally learned the D&D rules, but I just love those games, mostly because I'm a big fan of co-op games, so like board games and things like that where you're playing cooperatively, like Arkham Horror and things like that, where it's not just a bunch of players against each other. You actually have to work towards a goal. And one of the main reasons I like that is it, instead of having people focus on playing against each other, you have to focus on working with each other. And this, it might seem like, well, okay, you're still working against the board game, against whatever opponent you have, but it just has a slightly different mentality to it. And I think a lot of it comes from my brother and I, since we're twins. We grew up together, we played the same games together. We think the same way a lot of the times. So when we would play games against each other, we would know what's going to happen anyway. We would know that, oh yeah, he's going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then it kind of felt... It's like you're playing with yourself, or against yourself, playing chess against yourself or something like that. You know what you're going to do. It's not a big surprise when a certain thing happens. So by playing cooperative games, it gave us that opportunity to play a game that was a little bit more where we could work together, and it just kind of improved our, like, my words are not coming to me right now, our cooperative abilities. Y'all would be really good at game compatibility. Yeah. So those types of games were always a big hit for us, when we could play cooperatively, and even games where we it was like competitive, we would turn into cooperative somehow, just make our own rules, like Monopoly. When we played Monopoly, it was terrible. If one of us needed a place, like to finish a boardwalk or something like that, and start building hotels, it would just be like, oh yeah, here, you can have it, and and I need that one, okay, here, you can have it. We were more concerned about like getting monopolies, or like the filling things in, than actually winning and holding something against someone else and going, oh well, now you've got to pay a lot of money for it. No, it would just go, oh, here you go, oh, I have 3 railroads, I need 1 more, okay, I'm gonna get it for you and then I'll give it to you. It was just we didn't play games very well, those types of games. So when it came to a cooperative game, we helped each other out anyway. So at least we had a proper opponent in either the board game or whatever device rule set that it had. That doesn't work with in my family. My pros and I is all very competitive. Yeah. I know a lot of people who are super competitive when it comes to board games. And I don't know if I'm competitive or not. More, I think a lot of it is, for me, is I don't like it when I don't play well. If I make a stupid mistake, it's frustrating for me. But I think that kind of goes for everyone at some point. When you're trying to win at something and then you just do a stupid mistake and you know it's cost you the whole game, it gets so frustrating. But yeah, with things like D&D, it's just this big collaborative storytelling process, and I really like that. And just that aspect of it. Let's see. I'm gonna take this wrist here and just reduce that rotation just a little bit. A little bit like that. Okay. There you go. So we've got the basic hand animation in there. I'm not gonna go too much further with that. Now for the facial animation here, I'm gonna try to just do one facial pose and just leave that for the whole shot. Basically, I just want to avoid this bland deadpan face here. I don't want to go into a lot of facial animation. That'll take too long. The whole point of this is a cloth sim demonstration. I'm competitive, but when I'm winning, I start feeling bad for everyone else. Yeah, it's... I have that same feeling of, oh man, I'm winning, and now the others aren't winning. But then as soon as I'm not winning, then it's like, oh man, I'm not doing very well. But I've got 6 older brothers and 1 younger. Oh yeah, I can imagine that gets a lot of fun with that many players. Especially a game of Monopoly or something like that. That would be just... I can't imagine the craziness that would become of a game like that. Let's see. So I'm going to turn on the facial controls here. And now we've got a bunch of facial controls. So I'm actually just going to select all these and set a key on them. Like so. And now the expression I'm going to do... the first thing actually I want to do is I'm going to fix this eye control. So right now you'll notice that as he goes through and moves through the scene, his eyes line up with his head. So if I had him change his head direction here at the end of the shot, which is what I want to do, suddenly he's looking over screen left. That's not great. Now what I can do very simply is take this eye control here. I'll turn on the follow align. Now he's got zombie eyes, but that'll just last for a second. And I can take this control now and just kind of place it out here where the audience is going to be. So if he's on stage, he'll be looking down slightly at the audience. Add 5 sisters, and that's my family. Whoa, that's a big family. For me, it's just my brother and I. That's it. I can't imagine having that much family. That's huge. So you can see I've put the eye controller here. And now, as I scrub through the shot, and he turns away here, let's go to this last pose. Because I switched the follow align, now, as he looks away, his eyes still look over there. So now I can kind of get him focused on one thing. Now, that's not exactly how we move. So for example, when I'm looking at the camera here, my eyes stay focused on. But if I'm actually looking like at an audience or something, there's going to be eye shifts. I don't need to worry about that. I want to focus on just getting some very basic motion in here. I couldn't even imagine having one sibling. Yeah, it's I could. A lot of people ask me, what's it like having a twin? What's it like having someone who's exactly like you and likes the same things you do? All like everything that I like, Cameron likes. Everything he likes, I like. We dress the same because we both like the same clothes. So why go through the extra hassle of trying to buy 2 sets of everything when one of us can go shopping and just pick up 2 pairs of everything, and then there you go. It's so much easier. So a lot of people ask us, oh, what's that like? And I never really know how to answer that, because I don't know what it's like not having someone like that. I wouldn't know what it would be like to have someone who's different from you. That would be weird to me. Kind of like going back to the board game example, having someone where I wouldn't be able to tell what they're going to be doing in a board game, or what kind of their thought process for something would be weird. Let's see, just trying to get some head overlap in here. Let's go into my graph editor. Yeah, there's a pop right there. Okay. Comes down. Let's drag that head over. As soon as you add a little bit of head motion in there, it really helps to start selling the motion a lot more. Now let's see, I kind of want to turn his head a little sooner here. There you go. I think that was really cool that both of you like animation. I'd love to have a sibling who liked it as much as I did. It would be like having a classmate. Yeah, exactly. Well, when we took animation, we both went through Animation Mentor at the exact same time, which was awesome, because if ever we needed someone to look at our shot, you always had someone who was working right next to you that could take a look at your work, which is basically kind of what it's like when you're working in a studio. If ever you're working in a studio, it's really cool, because if you're working on a shot and it's like, I just can't get this right, it's just not looking the way I want to, you could just kind of roll over to someone else and go, hey, can you take a look at this? What do you think? What's not feeling right here? Do you have any ideas of how I can make this better? And we had that while we were going through school, which was really cool. Especially when you're going on an online school, it can be hard if you're used to the kind of like school environment where you've got classmates around you all the time and things like that. It can be difficult to suddenly just be alone. And yes, you have an online community, but sometimes it doesn't feel the same. So having that kind of resource, or I don't want to say resource, but fallback was very helpful. And it's one of the reasons why now I try to host a lot of extra Q&As So things like the Fry Daily Q&As and I used to host a Working on Animation Q&A, all sorts of things like that, because not everyone has someone that they can just go and turn to and go, hey, would you like to look at this? And I'm just not getting this. Do you have any ideas? Can we just brainstorm on something together? Not everyone has that. So I wanted to make some Q&As and some resources where everyone can go to during the week at some point and kind of have that back and forth where you can talk to someone or ask questions live to someone, instead of just kind of sitting in a corner waiting for feedback or hoping that someone's going to look at your work. So I really enjoy doing things like that. It's a lot of fun for me. This head needs to drag back here. There you go. Usually I don't go into the graph editor too early, but I just want to make sure there's no pops in his head right off the bat. Head pops can be annoying to deal with. So there you go. Now we've got the head motion in there, and already that makes him look a lot less dead or creepy when his head's actually moving. Now, one thing I'm noticing is there's a little bit of a pop still here. I noticed this last week, right there. I think it's his spine is bending too much, rotating probably in Y. Let's try lowering this a little bit. No, is it Z? Okay, probably Z then. Lower that. Lower that. That's better. Now it feels a little bit more like a settle than a pop. Okay, save. Let's see. I think those Fry Dailies are appreciated by everyone. Oh, thank you. I have a lot of fun with them. I do find I need to keep my critiques a little shorter at times. Sometimes I get so caught up in just trying to explain everything in detail, and I want to give as much feedback as possible, and then we end up with 30-minute critiques or comments on things. So I probably need to speed that up a little bit more, focus on the more important things first. Let's see. Okay, I think that's good. But I really enjoy doing them. They've saved my work many, many times, and I'm only in week 5. Oh, I'm glad that it's been helpful for you. Did you see that? His hair just disappeared. I got too close with the camera, and the hair rendering disappeared. And there you go. We have Lex Luthor now. But thanks to the long critiques, we understand. Yeah, that's kind of why I like to do the long critiques, because I don't like to just say, fix this. And then, okay. Because I remember being in class, and sometimes people would say, oh, you just need to fix this. And I would go, yeah, how? And why? So I like to try and explain the reasons, especially, and a lot of it, I'm sure, must sound like repetition for a lot of people, especially if you've been in the Fry Dailies for a while, where if I'm talking about something in class 1 and talking about how the ball bounced the frame before and the frame after and all of that stuff, things that you probably heard when you were in class 1, and then you're hearing again now, and then you hear again the next term and the next term. I know it can get a little tedious at times, when you have to hear the same thing over and over. But I do like to repeat it just because there's always that new student that hasn't heard that before. And now let's see, I'm actually going to save here, and I'm going to use my 2D pan and zoom to come in here and focus on the face so I can get a good facial expression here. And actually, I need to fix his neck. That neck pose right there is feeling a little weird. I might fix that later. It's just the way the neck kind of attaches into the side of the head. It looks like he's kind of got his head cranked at an odd angle, which he does. Looking at his neck here, yeah, that's an odd angle there. So I'm going to do a neck pass later when I track my arcs. Plus my feedback style has improved because of it. Nice. 1,000,000 paragraphs of super detailed critiques is fantastic. Most people love feedback, and detailed feedback is always very much appreciated. I don't think I've ever really seen people not appreciate feedback if you take the time and really like give constructive criticism. I have seen a few people where anyone gives them feedback and they just refuse it and go, no, I know what I'm doing, and I'm right. And those kinds of people, you kind of just have to go, okay, I'll give my feedback to someone else then, and that's about it. So there's nothing you can really do about it aside from just moving on. But most people are very appreciative, which is always so much fun. Now let's see. I'm trying to think of what expression I want him to have. I kind of want this kind of like eyebrow raised, eyebrow down, and there's just this kind of semi-serious, like, this is gonna blow your mind. It's gonna be amazing. You've never seen something this impressive before. Even if he's just gonna be pulling a towel off of something. So let's push the face. Let's see. Yeah, those are the ones I don't give feedback to. And again, yeah. And I like it when someone in upper class applies a suggestion I said and it works. That's always cool. Because that's the most daunting thing when you first get into, or when you first start giving feedback, and you give feedback to the people in a higher class than you, and they're in an advanced class and you're starting out and you're not sure what to give feedback on really, or how to say it, because, well, you haven't learned those concepts yet, and it can be so daunting. I remember just so many times I'd write feedback and then I'd go, nope, I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, how can I know what I'm talking about? And I'd just delete the comment. And then, like, a few hours later, I go, maybe it'll help them anyway, and I'd rewrite the whole thing. And a lot of times they would be super appreciative, and sometimes it would help. Other times it didn't, because I was still learning, and not every comment you're ever going to give is going to be pure gold. That's actually something else to keep in mind, is don't feel bad if a comment you give doesn't pan out. As much as it would be ideal for every comment to be perfect, that's not the case, and it's not the case in the industry as well. And part of an animator's job is to be able to decipher which comment they want to apply to their work, and kind of figure out which ones are going to help and sell the idea that they're going for. Because even if you get a comment, that doesn't mean you have to apply it. if someone gives me a comment for a shot and that's not the direction I'm taking the shot, I want to do something slightly different with the shot, I don't have to follow their comment. Doesn't mean I'm not appreciative of the comment. The fact that they took time to leave a comment is always very much appreciated. But it doesn't mean I have to follow it. Now, one thing I would recommend, just based on kind of common courtesy, is if someone leaves you a comment, let them know that you read it and just say thank you for it. So thank you for your comment. I really appreciate the notes. And then if you're not going to apply something, let them know. That way, if they comment on you again, they don't have to go, oh, well, I mentioned this before. You didn't apply it, so I'm going to mention it again. And then if you don't apply it again, then they start thinking, oh, well, why am I leaving comments on them? They're not even listening to me. They're asking for feedback. I give them feedback and they don't apply anything that I give them, or they keep ignoring this one note. So by just kind of giving that little bit of a acknowledgement and just let them know, I like that note. I gave it a try and it's not really the direction I want to take my shot. That lets them know that at least you tried it. And do give it a try, because you never know what comment, even if it sounds like, oh, that's not gonna work, it's gonna look weird if I do it that way. You never know which comment is actually just gonna go, oh, I never thought that would have worked and it looks awesome now. That's happened to me many times where I would get a comment and I would always try every single comment that I was given, just see if it would do anything. And there were some that I'd look at the comment and go, okay, I don't really see the point of doing that. Like, okay, sure, I'll do it anyway, but why? And then I'd apply the comment and it would just be like, oh, that's why, because it makes it look good. It's important not to get lost in kind of not trying things. Never be afraid to try something out. And that's actually something that I'm really trying to take to heart in this new year here. I don't want to say it's a New Year's resolution. I'm not a big fan of New Year's resolutions, just because the concept to me is, if I'm going to do a resolution, I might as well just do it at any time, not just save them for the new year. But that's just me. But one thing I do want to kind of live by is just trying new things and not being afraid to try new things in this this year. Because for a long time, I kind of, well, I've mentioned this in a lot of streams, like how I wouldn't start drawing. I would just kind of quit right away because I wasn't as good as I wanted to be. Which, how am I going to get any good if I don't even try? But this year I'm really taking to heart just that concept of, if I want to do something, I'm just going to do it. I don't care if I'm going to be good at it. That's not the point. The point is doing it. And getting good at it comes with it, will come later. So that's been my kind of goal this year. It's only been a month so far, but I've already done in this month more new things than I have in a very long time. And this is actually what the Twitch, hate to nag, but you see episode 2 of my series. Not yet. I haven't had time, although I'll probably take a look at it Thursday, I'm thinking. My internet is actually pretty much capped right now. I've got a bandwidth limit every month, and I've only got a few gigs left. So I can't actually watch YouTube videos until Thursday until the new month, which is for anyone who's in AM. You might have noticed that the campus Q&A hasn't been uploaded yet. That's why. Right out of internet. So yeah, I will be checking that out on Thursday. And then I'm hopefully going to watch it before the start of the next stream. That way, if you're in the next stream, we can talk about it. Which campus Q&A? It was the Vanilla Walk campus Q&A from Kevin Cook. It was last Thursday. Okay, let's see. Trying to push this face. I want to keep it subtle. I don't want to be a crazy expression. But I do want it to be appealing. Let's add a little bit of nasal fold right there. Okay, and let's see. I'm not either. I think you need to work on something. Just do it and not wait for the new year. Yeah, exactly. I've seen a lot of people, a lot of family, usually it's extended family, kind of go, oh, I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna do it in the new year. It's gonna be my New Year's resolution. And then they wait for the new year and then they either forget about it or they just go, oh, I'll do something else. And if they had just started, then they could have gotten into it. So New Year's resolutions, I don't have anything against them, but for me personally, I would rather just kind of do them whenever I can. Oh, no worries, Kokomojo. I know there's no pressure. I'm actually looking forward to seeing it. Like I said before, I love kind of compilations with video game stuff. I just find them so much fun. So I'm really looking forward to taking a look at that. Let's see. I kind of want to pinch the corners of the mouth a little bit more. Let's see. I could give him. Oh no, not that control. That's the depth control. Let's see. Okay, that's not gonna do too much right now. There's something about the eyelid that's throwing me off here. Okay, I think that's what it was. It was that skin below the eyelid itself, the actual cheek. So I think we'll go something like that. Just super simple, nothing extraordinary. And the main reason why I want to keep it simple is the more complex the pose is going to be, the more I'm going to have to adjust it later on as he turns his head. If I keep it simple, I don't have to adjust too much. So that's kind of my goal here. More than 20 hours, so many videos, love it. The series will last a couple of seasons. Nice. It's so cool that people can create like seasons of a it's a series that's going to last seasons, and you're doing it yourself without having to go to a producer or have a studio or anything like that. That to me is just so awesome. Like that YouTube, Twitch, like just even doing this. This is a series, a continuing series. It airs on Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays. You could consider that, and it lasts for a few hours. It's kind of like I don't know what kind of show this would be, like a Bob Ross or something like that. Bob Ross is awesome. If ever you've seen him. I'm not comparing myself to Bob Ross, but it's that kind of vein. Or maybe Mr. Rogers, or like, I don't know, something like that. I don't really watch too much art. Oh no, wait, I know a show, Art Attack. If anyone's seen Art Attack growing up, I don't know how many people have seen that show. Oh no, he's gone bald again. That was a show my brother and I really enjoyed watching when we were young. Which it was basically a how to draw kind of show. They would do all sorts of just random skits. Loved Art Attack, nice. I don't know that many people who've actually seen it before, so that's actually pretty awesome. So what I'm doing here, just kind of as an explanation, I'm trying to straighten out his neck so that his head doesn't have this weird kink in it, because the head and neck tend to flow together. If it didn't, we'd end up throwing out our vertebrae quite a bit. So I'm just kind of doing a quick pass of the neck, making sure that it's not doing anything weird, and that is weird. So this looks like let's see what's going on here. Let me just do an Euler filter on these. Let's see. Bob Ross is a god. Yes, he is. He is a god and just a simply awesome person. His show was just so good in so many ways. I'm not sure if there's anyone who is going, or let me say this properly, who will match his level of inspiration that he's given to people in terms of art like that, which is just fantastic. Especially like his whole message of anyone can paint and anyone can do this. It doesn't have to be, again, fantastic work, just as long as you love doing it. He kind of actually makes me think of the chef from Ratatouille. What was his name? Chef. What was his name? Gusteau, yes, Chef Gusteau. And like anyone can cook. Neil Buchanan. I don't know how to spell it. Did Art Attack? Oh, did he? That's awesome. I think Gusteau. That seems like it's written right. It seems good in French. Gusteau. Okay, so I've got the neck and the head, and the facial expression works pretty well. It's not perfect. One thing I'm not liking is how much his eye kind of gets dug into that corner right there. And the expression, you can see how it doesn't really work here. Here it's not bad, but as soon as his head goes up a little bit, it's like, ugh, there's something weird about it. I'm not gonna worry about that. I don't want to spend a bunch of time on something that isn't really going to make a huge difference in terms of this is supposed to be a cloth simulation demo in the end. Let's see. Imagine a Vietnam vet. Imagine someone as calm and peaceful as him saw violence. It wasn't Bob Ross a drill sergeant as well? I seem to remember something like that. Like, it wasn't just a Vietnam vet, but like a job where he yelled at people all the time. Let's see. Oh, Gusteau. Okay. That makes sense. It's spelled in the French weird way, with the EAU. Let's see. I'm gonna just see if I can take this one eye control here and just pull it out here. Yeah, I'll just leave it. I'm not gonna fiddle around with the eye controls too much. Okay, so with this, let me save. With this, we're pretty much good to go. We've got the hands, the face. At this point, all I need to do is spline out this shot. Now, let me do a couple of play blasts here. So I'm going to select all of this. Look at that nice fine mess of spaghetti. Let's select all our curves here, and I'm going to put it to step mode. This way we can just see our main keys. Let's see. And I'm not sure if Maya froze or if it's just because it's trying to convert a bunch of curves here. Just in case, let me open another Maya window. And luckily I saved just before doing this, so we won't have lost any work. Okay. So once Maya loads up here, let me just double check. Yeah, it looks like it's frozen. Will you be using the bullet physics for the cloth sim? I'll be using NCloth. Bullet physics, I forget if you can use bullet physics for cloth simulation or not. I've used bullet physics for simulating a lot of different things. If ever you have to simulate like hundreds and hundreds of things, like Lego bricks just tumbling on the ground or someone bursting through a wall, bullet physics are great compared to regular N physics that Maya has. Mostly because it allows for more simulation. You can do hundreds of things without having your computer bogged down to nothing. There you go. Finally started. But I don't know if it does cloth. I can't remember. It's been a while. I'm working on this series all by myself, writing, storyboarding, getting music, animating, editing. Oh, that's a lot of work. But I have 2 people who are helping me port models that I need. Yeah, I've always wanted to look into porting models just because it kind of seems interesting to be able to see how they sculpted something or modeled something. But I've never had time to actually look into it in any depth. But it does seem like a really cool just subject to dive into. Oh yay, our scene came back here. So I'll just keep going from the scene we had before. So it just took a while because we had a lot of curves here. So now it's in step mode. Now there is a little bit of a head move here. I'm gonna just get rid of that. Because when you're in step mode, it's very nice to avoid having things just move on their own. Okay, so let's do a play blast here. Turn off our resolution gate. Save again, just because I'm paranoid about saving. And let's do a play blast. I'm gonna name it Cloth Sim Demo 2 and play blast. Let's see. Before I started AM, I played around with particle effects. Yeah, particle effects are pretty cool. They're really great ways of creating like leaves or things like that. Okay, so this is our shot the way we have it right now. So you can see that facial expression, it really adds a lot. Even though he's not changing his face, or like he's not actually emoting, compared to our previous one here. Sorry, my cat just made a weird noise. Compared to this, where it's just got this creepy face that just stares straight at the audience. Now we've got this a little bit more interesting. Even though he's not actually moving his face, that's more fun to look at. And this is it's the same with the hands. When people don't pose out hands and they just leave them as their default, it creates this similarly creepy look where the character just feels dead compared to having hand poses. So that's where we're at right now. Now, the next thing we need to do is spline out this shot. And typically when I'm splining my shots, I try to get my keys so that I have everything on 2s or 4s. Well, right now everything is on 4s. So, let's see. I'm just trying to think if there's any area where I would want to add a couple more keys here. I know that I'm going to need more detail here in the grab. So I'm thinking I might add a pose here and here before going into splines. And the main reason for this, let me open up my old spline shot to kind of show the reason. So this was when I had just gone into quick splines. You can see how it's just very slow, very dull. There's an arm wiggle here where his arm just kind of dips in. So by adding more detail, by adding a few more keys in here, I can start refining this and not let Maya do all this extra work for me that it's not going to do very well. Let's see. Here's a little thing I did with particles making an explosion. Ooh, nice. And let me copy the link for everyone to see. There you go. So, let's see. Okay, 8 seconds. I can watch this without blowing out my bandwidth. So, nice. Yeah, that's so cool. I love the shades in there. Particle physics are so much fun to play with. Okay, so let's see. And particle physics are a great way of just kind of adding a little bit of extra depth to a shot. Although, typically I recommend for people starting out, don't worry about it. It's not going to make or break things, whether you have particle physics in a shot or not. Okay. So I kind of want to add, let's see, 1, 2, maybe 3 keys here. I don't need any at the beginning here. There's already plenty. I've got the grab, and then the swing. The swing is pretty, it's just a simple motion here. So I just want to add a few more keys through here. And the main reason is, again, to really sell the... Oh, actually, before I do that, let me undo. I want to turn off his facial controls. I don't need to see those anymore. And I don't need to set extra keys on them. Okay, so let's turn off the facial controls, like so. Select everything. Set a key. And it's taking a little bit here. There you go. And I'm also going to just put my whole shot back into splines. I usually kind of work in splines. It's just, I'll look at my shot in step mode, but I'll work in splines. It's just kind of my preference. There's no special reason other than just it's what I'm used to. So let me switch that over, and it's going to take a little bit again. I'm actually going to just double check my processes here, see if there's anything that's... no, it's just Maya being slow. Doopy-doo. It's because I have so many curves now in here. That is just slowing things down. And just trying to switch everything all at once like this, it just takes some time. So, while we're waiting here... are you doing the cloth on Thursday? I'm hoping to do the cloth on Thursday. It'll depend on if I can get this shot splined out, which I don't see it being too long to spline out. If I can get these 3 keys in here, then it'll just be a matter of going through the graph editor, cleaning things up, cleaning up curves and arcs, and that should be it. Which I'm not going to be a super stickler on this shot. It's not going to be 100% perfect. So as long as Maya doesn't freeze, or as long as it doesn't take so much time here, I should be able to go pretty quickly on this. So yeah, I'm guessing the cloth sim will be on Thursday. If not, it'll probably be more refining of this shot, although I really don't see, even if we do have to do a little bit of refining before the cloth sim, I think we could still do all of that on Thursday. And this is just taking a little bit, so let's see. What can we do while we wait for Maya? Let's see, I'm actually gonna just open this window up here, so I can actually doodle something while we wait. So, for anyone who wasn't here yesterday, I'm trying to create some little emotes for the stream. So, for example, when a new follower comes up, having a little image. Oh, and finally Maya comes up, of course, as soon as I go to another demo. So I've been trying to figure out things to do here. So for anyone who didn't see, this is the first one that I've kind of... Oops. Let me go to the right frame here. There you go. And it ends on frame 13. Let's see. Zoom out here. And I think I was animating this at 12 frames per second. So, oh, no wait, actually. My timeline's all... There you go. There's more frames, haha. So, frame 22. Let's see. So, just trying to create a little animation here. So I've been trying to think of little things like this to do for the stream. If anyone has any suggestions on little things they'd like to see, let me know. Basically, I think I'm gonna go with kind of a cat little thing. I'm trying to figure out designs for him. This was just random doodling. I drew something cute, so I figured I should kind of go the other way with it. Yeah, just this is what I was spending my free time doing yesterday, when I got a little extra time, just doodling cats. The fun of being an animator. It's such serious work. Okay, so we've got this in now. Let's frame through. Okay, so it comes in. This frame. Let's see. So his foot starts moving there. On this frame, it's gonna move. Let's see. Most of the way. And actually, this is something I want to kind of show everyone. Right now, I could block this pose out. So you can see it's basically a copy of this pose. 56 to 58 is the same pose, I just moved the foot here. And I could block all of that out by hand and move this character into place. But for me, when I'm doing my main core blocking, that works very well. But when I start getting into little poses like this, like it's just a tiny adjustment from one pose to the next. It's not a huge thing. So what I like to do instead is when I'm working in spline mode, let's select all my controls here. I'll let Maya help me out a little bit instead of having to deal with all of this information all on my own. So let's get rid of this key. I'm not sure why Maya is so slow right now. So get rid of this key, and now you can see Maya is already giving me an in-between. It's a very bad in-between. It shouldn't be quite like that. But I'll set a key anyway, and I'll start building from this. And the reason I find this helpful is it makes it so that I don't have to deal with all the little things. Trying to do all the little minutia of, oh, did the foot move this way? Which attribute did I use? All those little things. I can just kind of focus on adjusting the spacing. So for example, now this foot here from 56 to 60 here, this is going to be exactly in the middle. Well, that's Maya. Maya will always try to put things in the middle when you're working on this. And this goes with any program. When you're working with Flash or something like that, that tween feeling where things just kind of slide around, this is what's causing it. So what I want to do is I just want to adjust this. So for example, here, I want the heel twist to lead. So it's going to be closer to frame 60 than it is to frame 58. So now I've got that nice little spacing adjustment. The translation of the foot, so you can see it actually slides a little bit. I'm going to just kind of bring it in a little bit more towards the beginning. So the spacing of the foot is going to be interesting in the sense that the heel translates and favors the starting pose, but the toes rotate favoring the end pose. So now I've got a nice offset in that motion. But I didn't have to try and consciously think of, okay, which attributes did I do? Make sure I don't go too far, too little, all that extra stuff. Because I know I'm starting from a middle point. Now, this is a personal preference. It's not something everyone has to do. It's just kind of something I like to use as I don't want to say a shortcut, because a shortcut makes it sound like it's a lazy way of doing it. It's more of a way of not having to mentally deal with a bunch of numbers and values. Let's see, I kind of want to twist this foot just a little bit less here. Maybe a little bit more. Let's see. Just gonna look at my attributes here. Heel. I want the foot roll and the heel raise. Or sorry, heel twist. There's just a little bit of a wiggle in there that I want to kind of clear up. Oops. So let's just kind of bring that down ever so slightly. And I think this is what's causing it right here. Right there. That's better. And I just want to double check my translates as well. Yeah, that's good. Let's see. I'm sketching out my post for this. Love this song. Yeah, the Spanish version is so good. I do have the actual soundtrack. Unfortunately, it's not on this computer. So most of the songs that I have on this computer are just kind of some like piano arrangements, things like that. On my other computer, I've actually got a bunch of soundtracks that I'd love to use for the stream. Like video game soundtracks and things like that. I just kind of have to dig them out. Let's see, I want to lead this knee a little bit more. And this knee as well. Don't select the layout control there. Something like that. Really lead with that knee. Okay. So, with that, let's get into the hip. So, with the hip, the big change here is the rotation of the hip. So let me check my rotations here. On this frame, let's see. No, wrong rotation. I want to rotate Y. Just gonna adjust the rotation here. Get it to come in at the right place. Because I want the big rotation to be right there. This was such a good show. I'm looking forward to the fourth one. Fourth one. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do with the story, where they're going to go with it, but I'm really looking forward to it. Let's see. My hip rotation does this pop right here. I don't like that. This pop isn't making sense. Why it would be like that. So let me clean that up here. And basically when I'm looking in the graph editor, I'm trying to just visualize why the curve should be moving one way versus another. That's really what I'm using the graph editor for. But the big thing I do want to make sure is that as I'm using the graph editor, I'm not ruining something I already had in my shot. Let me undo that. And I think I need to push him, let's see, a little bit more this way. And this way. Kind of just push that down a little bit more. Something like that. Starting to clean up those hips there. This was a sad song in Story Story 2. Ugh, can't speak today. Toy Story 2. Yeah. I heard Toy Story 4 is supposed to be like a love story about Woody finding Bo Peep. That would actually be kind of cool to see Bo Peep again. There's actually a theory that Jesse's owner was Andy's mom. I heard about that story, or that theory. And it kind of makes sense. There's so many Pixar theories that they're just so darn close to being true. Let's see. So the hips start here. Starts translating. Translate Y needs to be tweaked. Needs to ease out there. Such good music in these shows. There's so many memories that come with these songs. see. Just trying to get my spacing on these hips so it doesn't pop. But the other thing I want to do is I don't want to make it linear either. I don't want to lose the that finesse and, for lack of a better word, the dirt that I had in my blocking. And by dirt, I basically mean like the little pops, the wiggles, things like that make the animation feel real and not super clean and just bland. Okay, so we've got that. That's the hip. Don't need to do too much more there. It's going to be the arms that this in-between is going to be really crucial for. The spine. Ooh, there's a twist here for no reason. That was a little pop right there. Clean that up. And this is why I like working with the graph editor. Because it can help you find those little niggly pops and wiggles. Oops. Okay, so I'm supposed to be on frame 58 here. And I just want to push my spacing so it's not perfectly in the middle. So for example here, maybe push the rotation a little bit, have it lead a little bit more. Here, instead of flattening out, let's push that rotation so it angles back a little bit, have a little overshoot right there. Make it a little bit more interesting. Okay. I've seen that theory. I should ask Bobby if it's true. Yeah, that would be a good question for the Ask At. I don't even know if he knew the answer. I don't know if he'd be able to say. Okay. Let's see. Still just doing the same thing, pushing my spacing. I'm gonna push this head curve right here. But don't forget. That's okay there. Might just push. Yeah, I'll leave it like that for now. Like that. Okay. Now, the big thing, the arms. This is kind of the whole point of this pose here. Because the arm spacing, I really want to push the spacing here. Let me save. So that it doesn't just come down evenly. And I can actually, let's look at my curves here. So he's going to come down. Let's see. Come down. Raise that up just a bit here. Like so. So. This music is way too good. Okay. Starts, speeds up here. Let's try to clean up this arc. Okay, so on this frame, I'm gonna push the arm down a little bit here. So, and then I'll push the wrist a little bit. But basically I want this feeling of speeding up through this motion. And then the wrist here and drag back. And then it'll reach forward. So I'm creating this offset where the wrist is going to kind of pop a little bit. So he comes down and then his wrist kind of flicks downwards for the grab. It's very subtle, but it makes a big difference. Okay, and then let's just check the arc here. There's a little bit of a wiggle in the arc right there. That's fine. I can clean that up later. Okay. Now, this arm here, it kind of pulls back like so. I'm going to just have it ease out of that a little bit more. So the arm won't be quite as straight there. And let's see. Kind of continuing along this path upwards. I don't think any other cartoon, aside from Up, has made me so emotional in the first, what was it? Like 15 minutes? Not even. That show was, it was just tearing your heart out. And doing it so well. It was a monster. Hand comes back here. Shoulders back here. Okay. Something like that. There's a little bit of a pop here in the arm. It comes back, or it comes down here. I just have to fix that. I'm just trying to get this nice clean arc in the lower arm there. Don't need to get it perfect just yet. But something like that. Again, a little dirt in the animation isn't a bad thing. Okay. So we've got this. Just gonna come through here and see if I can clean up this curve. Just a tad. While I'm here. Okay. More like that. Oh, too much. And then translate Z again. There you go. That's better. Now you'll notice that there's 2 frames here where he's kind of frozen in place. Let me fix that really quick because it is kind of bugging me. Now, the way I can fix this is basically I need a moving hold. And I could try to make this subtle animation adjustment between these two poses to try and create that moving hold. But basically I need something that's between 44 and 48, right there, somewhere in there. So what I can do is I can just grab a frame that's in between here. So let's say I'll take 46, copy it over to 48, set a key, and now I've got a moving hold right through, where he doesn't just hit a frame and then stop. And there you go. Very quick moving hold before he gets into his motion here. Now, one thing I'm not liking is this arm needs to be higher up here. And the main reason being is when he's moving, my eyes are going to his hip first, compared to going to his arm. So I just need to raise this up a little bit. And then let's just take the curves here and move them up. And then from there, now we get this pop in the elbow, which is what I want. I want that elbow to come down quick. And let's just check our animation here. Let's kind of start that a little higher up here. There you go. So it's just a little change, but now as his arm comes down, because his arm is the thing that moves the most, you're looking there and not down here. Actually, another thing I want to do is, you might notice that his knee is popping right here, where it goes perfectly straight. I'm just going to take my translate Y, the whole translate Y of the entire hips, the up and down, and just move it down ever so slightly until I don't get that straight. Now, as he goes through, his knee straightens, but it doesn't pop. Wait, when he's gonna smack his finger and collapse in pain, that's gonna be my own special shot. I want to use that reference for something. That reference was too good not to just leave it behind somewhere. It was too genuine. Okay, so there we go. So that's that in between right there. We've got two more to do, and they should go a little faster. Oh, take care, Sin. Have a great day. Okay, so let's see. Set another key here. And did I just copy the key, or did I actually set a key? Forget. I think I might have copied it. Yeah, let me undo that. I don't want to copy the key, I just want to set a key with all the in-betweens. Okay, right there. So set a key. Okay, so this is going to be the frame after he grabs. He actually grabs the cloth on 61, which I'm going to have it on ones in that area, but that'll come later. So again, as I'm working on this, I personally like to start with the feet. And the main reason for that is I know what the feet should be doing. They're either going to be moving or they're not. So for example, this foot, instead of easing in like this, right here, is just gonna stay flat. If anything, I might just add the barest, just tiniest little motion in there. So you can just see it's moving like a pixel. before going into the next one, like so. Now this foot, needs to contact much faster. So comes down, and let's just flatten out the foot roll. Let's see, which one am I looking for? Oh wait, I've got the wrong foot selected, duh. There you go. So just flatten that out. So now he contacts much harder. And we get a nice quick timing there in the foot instead of just slowly easing. Little things like that, that's what's going to really sell the motion of the foot. The other thing I can do is ease this in. So if I look at my foot roll here, or sorry, heel twist. Right now it's kind of just slowly coming in very blandly. Let's push this even more. So as the foot comes in, it twists and then eases in right there. And I can even push that a little bit more, like so. So, like that. So I'm trying to vary up my spacing in here. Now the hips and everything won't be too big of a deal in here, so I'm just going to go in the graph editor and just start cleaning these up, add some ease to these, ease ins, ease outs. Something like that. Let's do the rotations here. I don't want this to be perfectly flat. In general, I try to avoid having any curves that are perfectly flat. Just because a perfectly flat curves mean that something is not moving. And in real life, it's almost impossible to just stop something from moving completely. Okay, so how are those hips moving now? That's good. It's a tiny little adjustment, but it makes a world of difference. Okay. Let's see. Now this is going to be a big one. Where do I want his spine to lead? Do I want him to bend forward quickly? Or do I want him to... So it comes down. I kind of want the arm to follow, or to lead first, like that. So the arm is going to be the big motion, followed by his body, like so. So a change like that, that can be a big difference for a shot, depending on how you want to put a key. Now these other ones here, it's such a subtle motion that anything I do, no one's gonna even see. So it doesn't really matter. It is helpful, but it's one of those things where I could spend a lot of time focusing on these tiny, minute curves, but in the end, there's really no point because no one's gonna see it. So I can be spending my time doing something a little bit more useful. It's time management, basically. Instead of focusing on little things, I can focus on bigger ones. Now let's see, I kind of want his head to drag back here, so we'll kind of push this down here. And then drag it upwards, like so. There we go. That makes a nice clean arc for his head. Shoulders. Okay, this again, subtle motion, don't really need to worry about. This one here, a little bit more interesting. So let's see. This rotation is the up and down. He's coming down, so this is going to really come down quick here. And then I could actually push this even more down here and then here. Just really push that shoulder rotation down and make that nice and smooth motion through here. Like so. Now that arm throw is going to be nice and smooth. And I'm noticing a little wiggle here. Let me clean that up. There you go. See. Like so. Perfect. Good. Okay. So I'm going to do this arm first because it's going to be a little easier to figure out the spacing I want. Okay. Let's have it. It comes in here, then changes direction. So, okay. I want this to come in much closer. Let's clean that up. Push that up a little bit. And then rotate X. Let's create a nice arc in here. Something like that. Elbow bend. So, like, I know I'm kind of just talking my way through this and saying the obvious here. But at this point, that's really what it is. It's just trying to figure out when things should be moving, what the in-betweens should be like, and trying to push my spacing so that it's interesting and it isn't just kind of bland and just monotonous. So let's see. Even, for example, here, the wrist. As it starts rotating, maybe I'll actually start rotating it a little sooner here. Hold off there. Just submitted my Ask Cat question to Bobby. Nice. It'll be interesting to see what kind of response he gives. Let's drag that back a little bit. And then, let's see. So that rotates up. Let's kind of keep it going this way. And like that. Oh, and there's a flat part there. Let me clean that up. Again, I try to avoid having a flat curve whenever possible. Unless, of course, it's the feet. The feet are probably one of the few areas where I'll have flat curves. Okay. Now, got that arm done. Let's do the most important arm, the one that's actually grabbing. Because this arm has a sudden big change in pose right here. And it actually kind of hitches a little bit. Because he's grabbing something and it's kind of an impact. This arm is actually going to kind of stay up higher here. Or actually, wait, no. Let me undo that. This part of the arm is going to kind of lead a little bit more, ease into this, like so, but this part is going to drag back. But I want to create this feeling of impact. I just realized I was going to the music. And this is one of those things when you're listening to music, when you're animating, if you're doing something that is, you want to get a very specific timing to it, don't listen to music, because if you're not careful, you'll end up picking up the musical timing of it, whatever you're listening to. Now, this is actually really good if you want to pick up that musical timing. And you want it to feel like a certain song or something like that. That can be very helpful. Let's see, this needs to drag back a little bit more here. So you can see there's a little bit of a hitch in the arm right there. I kind of want that. It's not quite how I want it here. And actually, let me raise this up just a little bit here. This should be just before the contact. So like that. I'm gonna change his finger pose in there just in a second. This is the contact, so I'm actually going to take all his finger poses here and copy them from this next frame there. Now, it's not going to be exactly that, but I'll figure that out later because the finger poses are going to be tweaked because of the cloth simulation. Let's see. I'm going to reset his wrist here. Okay. So he grabs. Like that. Let's bring this up a little bit. Bring this forward. I think that's getting there. Okay, let me tweak these fingers here before I forget them. Okay, and then just need to rotate them upwards. Like that, and then kind of don't want to break his finger. I'll adjust the hand pose later. But something like that. So now on this pose, this is where he's actually going to grab right there. And what I'm gonna do is this box is just a tad too far away from him. So let me save. Bobby's so full of enthusiasm. It's really contagious and makes everyone just really excited. Yes, Bobby is so full of excitement. I don't know how he keeps up that excitement all the time. He just keeps on going and going. It's awesome. I really don't know how he does it personally. I would love to have just a fraction of his enthusiasm and energy. And it is contagious. He really, whenever you see him in the video news or something like that, he just makes you really want to push yourself to the next level and just keep on going with things. Okay, let's see. Just gonna push the rotation of this elbow here, kind of flattened out there. This is probably one of my favorite songs from Aladdin. I don't know why. There's just something about it. Okay. This wrist needs to come back quite a bit. Okay. I know he's great for motivating me at the first of the week. Yeah. Every time I see the videos, when I was a student, it was my daily dose of just energy. Let's see. I think I want one more pose right in here. And then the rest, I'm probably just going to put some keys where I need them. So let's just set it. Oops, undo. I don't want to set a key on the ground. Okay. So we're getting there. I think we've got one more key, and then it'll just be kind of going control by control, cleaning a few small things up, which is basically making sure my spacing makes sense. And then, okay, good. And then we should be good. Okay, set a key here. Let Maya think. There we go. So the reason I want to put another key in here is this arm, I want it to straighten out faster. So it kind of comes in and just gets that straight in there. Maybe not that straight. We'll see. It's a little bit bent more. And you can see that I've got this little bounce in the curve. I kind of want that because his arm's dragging, and then when he catching the fabric is going to cause his arm to jerk, and then have it come through. And this is what I mean by whenever you hear me talk about not cleaning up your curves too much, I could clean this up to be, look at that, nice, smooth, beautiful curves. But if I do that, then I'm losing that texture of the shot. When you're working in the graph editor, it's very important to kind of think it through. Why are you making a change at a certain time? Does it need to be done? All of those questions really make a difference in your shot. So for example here, the elbow, I want it to drag back more, so I'm taking this rotation here and bringing it back. because again, he's just grabbed something. It's just light cloth, but there's still friction against the box that is going to be on. There's going to be this little bit of just a moment of a hitch. So I want to make sure that reads there. Same thing here. I'm gonna bring that up a little bit more. You can see it right there, definitely. Now there's actually, I'm going to select these and I'm going to go to, actually this is a good thing for me to do. Let me save here. Now you'll notice that my curves, they kind of look weird. There's this, it goes up and then this goes up, or I should say one goes down, one goes up. If I look at my curve here, look at what the wrist is doing. Now if I go frame by frame from the top view, look at that wrist. Nice smooth arc right through. That's what I want. Now if I scrub through, the wrist comes in and then through his leg, out forward, and then back. This is a gimbal issue. Basically, Maya's rotations don't know what they're supposed to be doing. And a problem that is often caused by this is Maya over-calculating certain rotations. So, for example, if you look at these values, this value is minus 95, and this value is minus 200. It's gone an extra 100 degrees in rotation right there, and then it goes back. And then the same thing on the translate Y. So what I can do is I can select these curves and go to Curves Euler Filter. It's spelled Euler, but it's pronounced Euler. And oh, look at that. It reshaped my curves to make something that makes a little bit more sense. And if I look at my wrist now, it's not perfect. It's still got wiggles. And this is something I'll probably clean up another way here, which I can show in just a little bit. But basically, that helped clean up a lot of the issues here. Something like that. Get that nice clean arc in there. Okay. There we go. Okay. So we're still on, let's see, we did this frame 62, we're on 68, or sorry, 66 still. Why doesn't Maya just automatically Euler filter? Because sometimes you want to do that. Sometimes you will want an extra rotation in something. Maya doesn't know that, for example. So just as a quick example here, we'll take this box. Let's say I've got a key on the first frame here, a key on the last frame, and in the middle here, I'm going to spin the box 360 degrees. So you can see it's minus 360 degrees right here. Now, maybe this is something that I want, where I want this box to spin and then spin back. Maybe some sort of like pendulum or like a circus ride at a carnival, something like that. But Maya is going to go, oh, wait, this curve, it goes from a value of 0 to minus 360 to 0 again. It looks like we over-rotated something and ended up in the same position, because when you rotate something 360 degrees, it's pretty much in the same position as it used to be. So if I did an Euler filter here, what Maya is going to do is go, oh, let me clean that up for you and get rid of all that extra rotation. which in some cases that's nice, because some cases Maya over rotates. When you're rotating with the manipulator, it'll just kind of miscalculate, or technically calculates it correctly, but it's just based on what you wanted to do. It's not calculating it the right way. But now we have this rotation here that is just a tiny little thing. So in this case, this ruined my animation. Now, instead of this circus ride that's swinging around, it's going to just kind of do it to nothing. Would you want to avoid it using on a cartoony shot? No. The big thing I would do is, if you're going to use it, just be prepared to undo. It might screw things up. Not all the time. I would say 90% of the time, it'll do what you want on an acting shot. When you're animating a character. So in most cases, it's not going to be a problem. It's when you've got these rotations that are swinging in huge increments, and kind of like, again, a circus ride of some sort, where it's like 360 degrees one way, then 360 degrees back, and over and over and over and over. Then Maya goes like, that does not look right. Let's fix that. Most character animation, you're never going to be doing that. Even like a spin for a character, because of the way it's going to work is, if you have a character spin, let's say here, it's going to be 360 degrees. So the character spins here. Well, when they stop spinning, they're not going to then spin back like that right away. They're going to stay in this position a little bit, do some acting, and then spin the other way. So your curves, because you're going to have more keys in there to define the action, Maya's going to go, oh, okay, I think you mean this. And it won't always break things. But usually that's when you're going to have an issue. When your characters are spinning, like with ballet type dance, or maybe they're doing some sort of just spinning around on an office chair or something like that. That's when you're going to run into issues. Aside from that, you're most likely never going to have an issue with a character in most cases. So, yeah. Me personally, if I have an issue where my character's not doing something I really want, the first thing I'll do is I'll check the Euler filter. If it helped, I'll keep it. If it didn't, I'll just undo and then fix it manually. So it's just kind of a quick tool that may or may not work. Let's see. I kind of want to bring his arm lower here. It's kind of way too high there. Like this. Now you'll notice that the arm, I'm having a lot of trouble getting a nice clean arc. I'm actually going to clean this arm up in a different way here. So let's see what's going on here. Oh, it didn't. My viewport just didn't update. That's why. So we've got this motion in here. Okay. So I'm pretty much close to done here. Let's see, I did the hips, I think, on this pose. Oh, not quite. Let's just kind of push that over there a little bit. Let's ease out there. And I'm just doing some very quick adjustments here, just to kind of clean up this motion here, make it a little bit more interesting. Again, that's one thing that the graph editor excels at, is helping to make things more interesting and not just bland. Now, because the graph editor is so powerful, if you're not careful, you will end up making your shot more bland by just over correcting your curves. So you have to be careful of that. But something like this, that makes it a little bit more interesting. Okay, so here, let's ease into that a little bit more. Maybe just kind of ease that so I don't get a pop right in there. Ease this in. Okay, neck and head. Let's push this. And when I'm working in the graph editor, as much as I can, I try to work with what I've got already. Just in the sense of, I don't, like I said before, I don't want to remove the dirt or the character that I had built in my blocking. Because when I was doing my blocking, I was putting things in places for a very specific reason, and I don't want to lose that just because I'm overzealous in trying to make things look clean. Okay. So, let's see. Elbow out quick. Yeah, I kind of want that fast motion right there. Now, again, with this arm, I'll probably have to clean things up. Let me just do a quick Euler filter here, just to double check. Okay, they're all good. One thing I'm not liking how this just stops here and rotates, so let's kind of clean that up right away. Okay, so it comes up. Something like that. Let's see. It's kind of rotating in an odd way right at the end there. I want to clean that up. That's better. Oh, too far. And that's better. Hey, a very nice British guy. How's it going? I've been doing pretty well. Just getting close to finishing the splining of this shot here. So gonna get there pretty quick now. I don't think there's all that much left to do on this shot. And then it's going to be the cloth simulation in the next stream, I think. Okay. So there we go. Okay, and then I think I already did this arm. Yeah. So let's save. Oh wait, I need to do the clavicles. Can't forget the clavicles. They won't need too much. Let's ease this one out a little bit. Or actually, No, if the arm's coming up, that'll need to lead the arm movement there. And clean that up. And clean that up. Something like that. Let's see. So we've got that motion in there now. Okay. Let's save. And I just want to do a very quick play blast here. Let's see. Cloth sim, we'll do 3. And play blast. And what I want to make sure is that the new keys I've set are working, and make sure that there's no other issues. Now we've got that big wiggle in the arm. That's going to be fixed next, I think. So there we go. Now it's feeling a little slow in the middle there. I can always retime it later. The other thing I want to do is I don't want to go too fast with this, because cloth simulation, if you go too fast, things can break. So I was thinking of doing like a really cartoony shot at first, but for this example I want to do a kind of more, well, you can see it's not a very fast motion. It's more of a simple just grab. But you can see how that kind of dirt in the grab there, where he grabs, and right there, it kind of feels like a pop almost, where I'm breaking the arc of motion. His hand, instead of coming down, it shifts left. By having that in there, it creates the feeling that he's interacted with something. I think this song is from Mickey Mouse, which it most likely is The Entertainer, maybe. Maybe. I'm not sure. It sounds Mickey Mouse-ish. Okay. So let's see. We've got this. Yeah, that's Mickey Mouse. The feet are feeling much better now. Just those few in-betweens that I put in there for the feet really help sell the contact there. Now, one thing I do want to check is this foot. I was feeling a little bit of a slide here. So he comes in. Yeah, it's sliding back a little too much. And that is the heel twist, I think. Yeah, you can see how it's overshooting here. Now, I don't mind it overshooting a little bit, but I want to keep it very subtle. Because as his weight comes back, it will shift, but I don't want to have it feel like the foot's sliding on the ground. There you go. Okay. So the first thing I want to do, before I forget, is one thing I'm doing is I'm using auto tangents. This is a tangent type in Maya, which is very useful. But there's one thing that it kind of does, I don't want to say wrong, but it can make your shots feel a little weird, is the first curve, or the first key here, is always going to ease out. So you can see everything eases out. And what this creates is the feeling that at the start, it's almost like a character is holding a position, and then the director says action, and then the character starts moving. It doesn't feel like the character is moving already within the scene. Oh, take care, Kokomojo. I'll take a look at your part 2 this Thursday, hopefully. I'm looking forward to seeing that. So let's see. To do this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through my graph editor and adjust these curves. And I'll just do this one curve at a time just so we can see. This is all good. This is all good. Let's check the knees. And actually, while I'm here, I'm going to just do a quick cleanup of the knee poses. Make sure that the knees are not wiggling in any weird ways. Let's see. It's not going to make a huge difference because they are knee PVs. But it's just one of those things where having them a little cleaner can make it just help avoid any unwanted pops or wiggles. Okay, and let's do this other one here. So something like that, for example. This might be what I want, but at the same time, a big change like that can cause a pop. And as much as I can, I'm going to try not to actually adjust this too much, because I don't want to break the knee positions. But things like that, where there's just that wiggle in the movement, that's going to cause the knee to wiggle. There you go. Nice and simple. So, okay, let's get to that, what I was talking to you about before, the first keys. So you can see how it's easing out here. Well, if I'm thinking of this as a shot, when you cut to this shot, he should already be moving. He's not going to be coming in from a standstill. So as I'm coming through here, I want to make sure that my curves kind of reflect that. And then get rid of any flats in here. Let's push that down a little bit more. So something like that. I can make that a little less here. I still want to keep that subtle motion. Okay. And let's look at our translate Y curve throughout. At this point, a lot of this is going to be, let's see, going through and just pushing my curves, cleaning up each curve as I go. This is where animation gets a little tedious, especially to watch. Like I apologize if this is very uninteresting to watch here. Just me adjusting curves and dots on a line graph. But this is one of those moments in animation where what I'll typically do is when I get to this phase, I'll just kind of put on a TV show or something I've seen before. Something that I really like to listen to. For a while it was Wreck-It Ralph. I would just kind of listen to that on loop. And I would just I'll just clean these curves and listen to something, or maybe a podcast or something. Something that I don't have to look at, basically. And what that'll do is it'll just allow me to kind of get into this this kind of just mindset of cleaning things up, and it kind of fills in the time. It's a great great way to do something extra while you're busy animating. Okay, so you can see how my translate Z here, there's no motion. I want to push that here. So he's going to change direction there. So let's put in a little anticipation here. Not too much. Something like that. Now, I'm noticing he's kind of breaking himself here. Let's reduce this a little bit here. And then kind of push that ease there. That's better. There's a little change, but basically his hip and his leg don't feel like they're snapping. I have yet to watch one of your streams where I was bored. Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Let's see. Trying to think here of how I want this hip to move. Something like that. So, this is the part of the graph editor that, again, a lot of people get bored at. And understandably so. It can be very kind of dull and monotonous. But I actually quite like this part. Again, simply because I don't want to say it's mind numbing. That's not really the right term I want to use. But you can kind of turn your brain off when you're doing this. You don't want to turn it off all the way and lose track of what you're doing. Because again, it's very easy to just over refine these curves in the graph editor to the point where your animation is just a blob. And that's what I used to do when I was first learning animation, is I would get so caught up in trying to make my curves look perfect, of making sure that everything was just clean and smooth and just absolutely pristine, that I would lose track of what was actually important, which was making sure that the animation looked appealing. So it's very important. You can kind of go through this process and not pay too much attention, but it's good to not lose focus. Okay. This in between can be pushed more. I'm also, as I'm looking through, I'm looking for any in between that I can kind of push a little bit more to be more interesting, like this. Anything that's kind of just sitting in the middle of a curve. Things like this, where at the beginning he just kind of eases in a little too blandly. Or areas like this where I can kind of create this offset. There's a lot of rotation happening here that I'm not liking. And the reason I'm not liking it is because the spine is kind of moving with the hips too much. So I'm going to select my spine controls, and I'm going to just create a little offset here. So the hips will start moving, and then we get into the spine. So it'll be something like that, and then not quite yet. Ease in, or ease out the spine, and then like that. There you go. So basically what was happening is the hips were moving, and I want this kind of fast motion in the hips, but then because of that, the spine was just kind of going kick and popping over instead of kind of dragging behind and creating this whipping motion, which is kind of what I want here. Now this section here, this is a section where, let me save. I could just kind of go in and, I'll clean this up and make it nice and simple, like a nice clean curve, because curves are very nice. But I might not want to do that because again, it gets rid of that flavor, that, I keep using the term, but dirt in the scene, where things don't move perfectly. Hey Hemo, how's it going? I hope you're having a good Australian morning. Australia is one of those places I would love to see one day. It's just you see it everywhere in films and things like that, and it seems like such a cool place. Aside from everything trying to kill you, that's kind of the one negative. But aside from that, it looks like such a beautiful place to check out and visit. Let's see. Let's kind of make sure the spine doesn't flatten out completely here. Have a little bit of motion in there. Something like that. Okay. Very warm at the moment, being a hot summer. Yeah, it's been actually pretty cold here. So, me personally, I would much rather have the cold than the heat. I do not do well in warm temperatures. I just can't take it too well, and I burn so easily. Anytime I'm in a warm climate, I have to be very careful I don't turn into a lobster and just turn beet red. Okay, let's see. I think I might have over smoothed the rotate X there. Actually, I kind of like that. Let's see. One thing I want to do is he kind of comes in and he kind of feels like he hits this too slowly. And I think that's the hips. Okay. Look at the translates here. And what I want to do is just kind of make this a little faster here. Oh, that might be why its translate was easing the wrong way. Let's see. I want to go to Scotland and tour all the old castles. Yeah, I'm really I want to go to Scotland one day. That's a trip that I've wanted to do for a very long time. Scotland, England, France, and just like do a whole European tour. I would love to do that. And I'm going to be bringing a lot of sunblock when I go to Hawaii. I do not want to burn. We had gone to Hawaii a long time ago when we were really young, my brother and I, with our family. And we had gone on a tour, and it was a really awesome tour. We were basically the only ones on the tour. And so since there was no one else, the tour guys just decided to go to this private beach and bring us kayak surfing. Just like, oh, there's nothing else to do, let's just go kayak surfing for an hour or two. And it was an awesome experience. The only problem is we forgot to put sunscreen on. And then we sat on a kayak for 1 or 2 hours in the sun, without really moving, because you're sitting on a kayak. You can't really do too much, and it's not like one of those kayaks where you sit inside. You're sitting on top. We were burnt, like literally burnt. It took basically a month before we were able to just not be in pain. And it was just horrible. Like our skin, you could just like take a piece, like it was starting to peel because of the sunburn. burn, and you can just kind of take it and it just peels the whole length of the arm, and it was just like long strips of like this flaked off skin because of the sunburn. It was horrible. So I do not want to experience that again. Alright. So he comes in, holds it a little bit. There you go. That's better. Is the translate Z on those hips, they were causing issues where the body just felt like it was easing in too slowly. Okay, now this rotation right here, that one kind of feels a little weird. Like it should be pushed a little bit more. Okay. And this one I want nice and smooth because it is the rotation of the body as he's kind of throwing this. So his body's going to be leading this motion. Okay. Then the rest I think is good. So that's the spine. Head and neck I'm not going to worry too much about. Right, well actually, I might as well just take a quick look. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Might just kind of pull that there. I have the head lead a little bit more. Okay. There we go. Let's kind of ease into this motion a little bit more, instead of being linear. And ease in here just a tad. And the reason I'm trying to ease in a lot of the time here is not because of just, oh, it's got to ease in, ease out, and that's it. By easing in and out a little bit more, what I can end up doing is creating a feeling that the character is hitting poses instead of floating through poses. Which is very important. You don't want your character to feel like they're just swimming through a scene and just constantly moving all the time. As much as that's kind of our job as animators, if we have a character moving the whole time, it kind of gets boring. Okay, I need to make sure that this doesn't flatten out here. Okay. There we go. Now just a few more curves to check out. Again, see how it's the beginning is always easing out like this. This is what's going to cause a lot of things to feel just bland right off the start. Make sure this doesn't flatten. Make sure that doesn't flatten. Especially when you get this plateau shape, that gets really weird. So I'm just going to clean that up a little bit like so. And I don't really need more keys in here. If there's something specific I want to get, I can add another key. But right now, I've got all the keys I really need in place here. Especially for, I don't want to say it's a simple motion, but it's a motion that doesn't require a lot of finesse in terms of having a key on every single frame. I can make do with just these few keys here for every 4 frames. Okay, so that's that. Again, the elbow here. I don't want it to ease. Let's kind of reduce that a little bit. Ease that in here. Okay. And then this one. Actually, this is the elbow, so this is actually something I want to fix. I don't want to have any other rotation aside from rotate Y in here. So get rid of that. This is actually another thing that's very useful with the graph editor. Sometimes, because of the way manipulators work, you might get a rotation on, for example, the elbow, and then get a bunch of little rotations on another attribute, which you don't want. So being able to just clear that out super quick is very nice. Let's see. Try putting aloe vera on after it burns. Yeah. When we got that burn, we were basically slathered in aloe vera for weeks, just to stop that burning sensation. It was so nice as soon as you put it on, but then as soon as it started drying up, the pain would come back. Oh, it was horrible. I find the spray can sunblock is the most efficient. I don't know if I've ever tried that. I'm sure there's got to be some around here. Since we kind of live in winter for 6 months of the year here, sunblock is not usually on the top of our kind of shopping list. Usually. So let's see. It's only whenever we go on vacation or like going to CTN or something like that. Suddenly, we need to go get sunblock, or else we will burn. Let's see. Can I see? This is an area where if I had cleaned up my curve, the wrist would not be doing what I want it to do here. I want it to reach forward there and get this snappy timing in there. Okay. Let's see. Bring that down just a little bit more. There we go. Now, I'm not going to finish all this at the end here because the arms need to be a little bit more refined for that. But let's kind of just get this one done here. And then I'll really only have one last thing to do on this. For the splining process, at least. And then we go into the cloth sim on Thursday, which is going to be cool. Or I hope it's going to be cool. We'll see. Okay. So let's save, and I'm going to do one more play blast. Here. And I just want to see if there's anything specific that's kind of popping out now that we've refined our arcs a little bit more. There you go. So you can see how the beginning feels a little bit more like the camera was just turned on and like he was already moving before then, compared to before where he just kind of felt like he was easing in, or sorry, easing out of, or it felt like he was starting to move instead of like he was already moving. So there we go. So now the last thing I really want to fix here is this arm. You can see as his the one that grabs the cloth, as it swings around, it's got this horrible wiggle in there. Now this is one of those things where when you're working with FK, it's kind of a pain, because sometimes when you're doing a motion like this, you're going to run into these types of problems. Now ideally, the way you would deal with this is twofold, or there's two main ways you can do that. The first is you can use what's called a gimbal control, which is right here, and this will allow you to animate certain rotations on one control, certain rotations on another, thus avoiding any gimbal issues where things just don't work. Now, if I had done that from the beginning of the shot, I'd be fine. But I do not relish the fact or the idea of having to go through my shot and reanimate this arm with two controls. So that is not something I want to do. If you run into a situation like this where you can't get this arm working and it's just not right, what I'll often do is I've animated this in FK. So it's FK arms usually allow you to get a lot of control, and there's my cat waking up there. FK arms allow you to get a lot of control, but what I can do is switch this to IK arms, and what that will do is it will basically allow me to use the IK, which with IK you basically just move this one control and you get the arm pose. Now the problem is I don't want to have to reposition everything in IK. So what I can do is, you'll see if I switch to IK right now, the arm snaps down here back to its starting position. But I can use this snap IK to FK control, and I want to snap the IK to match the FK. So snap IK to FK. And let's see. Make sure. Oh, I did backwards. So let me undo that. So let's snap to FK. No, wait. I always get mixed up here. Oh wait, duh. That's why. I need to put it back into FK mode. Like so. Oh, let me undo. Get that arm pose back. There you go. Okay, so I'm in FK mode now. And I want to snap this FK to IK. And let's see. There you go. So now it's in IK mode. And it's being snapped over. And what I can do is I'll set a key on the IK controls here. And then just go frame by frame. Or sorry, not frame by frame. Key by key. That's much better. And snap this control to IK. And what that'll do is, now you'll see it's got a key there. And I'll just keep repeating this. So snap to IK. I go to the next frame, snap to IK. Next one, snap to IK. And just keep going. And as I'm doing this, you might be wondering, like, why don't I just animate an IK right from the start? With IK, it's very difficult to get the overlap of certain things working, especially overlap in the elbows and wrists to feel quite right, to feel natural. So by animating FK first, I find it just allows me to animate faster and get that overlap built in. But now that I've got that main motion built in here, now you can see I've still got my animation. It looks pretty much exactly how I had it before, except now it's an IK control. And because it's IK, as I get into that troublesome area, look at that. Nice and smooth, except for that wrist that blows up there. But that's a gimbal issue, or a Euler issue. So I can just come in here, curves, Euler filter, there you go, fixed. And look at that, nice clean arc. There's no arm that suddenly pops into the wrong area. And if I wanted to refine this even more, let's select this arm, visualize, create editable motion trails. So there's the arc of the arm. If there's any areas like right here where it's like, oh, why is it's kind of wiggling in and then out? Well, I can just kind of select this, select my translations, and just clean these up. And this is way easier to clean up than a bunch of rotations that are all intermingling with each other. So basically what I've done is I've created a setup where I can animate an FK, get my main motion that I want in there, and then afterwards just kind of go with a simpler solution. Okay. I'm going to turn on motion trails here in my shot camera because that's actually the arc that's the most important. Okay, so he grabs there. Let's kind of clean this up right here. And you can see this is where IK becomes a pain because I move his wrist and then his arm just kind of wiggles around like that. This is why I don't like animating in IK. I like to animate in FK because if you're not careful, you get so many little wrist wiggles and elbow wiggles and all sorts of things like that. Once you get good at it, it's not too hard to avoid, but I would rather just not have to deal with it at all. There you go. Let's clean up this area here. Just clean up that curve. Get this nice motion in here. And by this point, you've seen like it's all just curved cleanup. There's nothing all that special, but look at that nice clean arc right through there now. Now, if I was to do the same thing, let's get rid of this motion trail here. And I can easily switch back to FK. I haven't lost all my FK animation yet. So if I take my FK curve here and just set it to 0, well, this is my FK arm. See, same thing. But if we track this arm, you can see how, look at that. Look at all those pops right in there. Look at this wiggle right in here. And this is going to be hard to clean up because I'm going to have to deal with X, Y, and Z rotations compared to just and that the thing with X, Y, and Z rotations is they all intermingle. So you adjust a little bit in Y, will also it will affect X and Z. Then you use X, it'll affect Y and Z, and so on and so forth. So it becomes very tedious. With the translations, if I adjust one translation, oops, I just shrunk his arm to nothing. I gave him a little nub. With IK, because I'm dealing with translations, I don't have to deal with all of that extra mess in there. The only thing I have to worry about is the elbow getting a little wonky at times. But that's easier to clean up than trying to get that path of action working just right. Now, from here, let's go into the rotations and clean that up because the rotations you can see are wiggling around like crazy. Let's see, especially this one here. Yeah, there's something going on here with the rotations. Let me try another Euler filter. No. Oh, that's why. If I clean this up and then clean this up, there you go. So usually if you notice here, the Y and the Z kind of look like they're doing weird things. If I bring them both in, that'll usually fix the issue. And this is what you'd have to do with FK. But with this, I'm just having to deal with this one wrist instead of the entire arm. So I'm just kind of cleaning the wrist up here, making sure that the rotations aren't countering each other in weird ways. So let's see if no, that's good. Then it comes down. This is good. Now here, if I bring this up and bring that up like so, I can kind of clean that and just kind of avoid little pops or wiggles in the arm here. Oop, don't want to do that. Push the eases on there. Okay. Again, don't want this easing at the beginning here. There would be no reason for it to ease like that at the beginning. And there you go. So you can see that section, which if I had tried to fix that with the regular FK controls, it would have been a nightmare of logistics and of probably keying things on every single frame during that section, trying to get that curve exactly the way I want. Instead, I just got it super quick right through here. And let's see, I kind of want to push this just a little bit more like that. The main reason being so that when he throws it, we get this kind of whipping action. So let's see, clean this up. Let's see, maybe I'll undo that. Let's see. Something like that. I'm just trying to get it so that as he's throwing this, we get that feeling of actually throwing. Or that flick of the wrist, basically. Something like that. Okay. So that didn't take all that long. Oh, take care, Daniel. I didn't see that message earlier. I hope I wasn't. I hope I didn't miss seeing it for a long time. That's what I wanted to say. So I think this is going to be the final play blast here. I want to make sure to save this. So let's compare. And then I still have my first spline version, so we can compare just to see what a difference it makes. Just these small tweaks. So there you go. So it's not a huge difference. But just by pushing that spacing ever so slightly, we get something that's a little bit more kind of interesting. Now I actually want to add, this is going to be something later. I want to add another frame. Well, actually here, I can probably do this super quick. I want to add a little bit more time. One more key in here. Because he's kind of just stopping a little too quick. I'm not liking how he kind of just comes to a settle and then just stops. So I want to add one more key in here. And I'm going to just create a nice simple settle in here. And the way I'm going to do this is, you can see 84 and 88 are the same pose. I'm just going to take maybe the pose from 82, copy it to frame 84. And now I get a nice settle. If I want to make that a little more subtle, maybe I'll take from 85, copy it over, 84. And I'm using the in-betweens that Maya is giving me to just push that a little bit more. So he comes in, and there you go. Okay. Oops, wrong camera. Let's play blast this. I can overwrite. And we'll see what we've got. Okay. There you go. Now he holds just for a little bit. It doesn't feel like it's cutting too soon. There you go. And let's just compare. So I'm going to pause this. Let's go back to the beginning here. And figure out which one I had. Cloth, Sim, Demo, Spline. Here it is. So I'm going to open this up with another program here so we can see them side by side. So this was the first version of Spline when I just put in my base keys and then got into Spline. And you can see we're not too far off here from what we had before, but it's kind of dull, it's lifeless, it's kind of boring. And it's not a huge change. It's not like I reanimated the shot or I added a ton of keys. Really, I only added 3 more keys in there, and then the rest was kind of just tweaking curves and making small adjustments. But when we compare it to after, and you can see it's a very small change. The settle feels a little nicer. The start doesn't feel like he's easing in, like he's come from a stop and then starting to move. The feet, if you watch the feet, they plant a little faster. They don't just kind of slide around. It's these little changes that happen over just a few frames, but it makes a world of difference. Adding the expression also helps, so he doesn't have that bland look to him. Adding some finger animation in there. So with this, I think I'm pretty much ready for the cloth simulation on Thursday. Nice. Cool. So with that, I think I'll call it here because I actually have other work I have to get done today, or else I'll be up all night. But thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out and dropping by the stream. I really appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you on Thursday, where we're going to do the cloth simulation. And I hope that it doesn't break, because cloth simulation is notorious for being finicky. So we'll see what happens then. But hopefully it'll be fun, and hopefully we'll get to see some really cool cloth simulation in here. So with that, take care, everyone. Have an awesome week. And if you're an animation mentor, best of luck with your assignments. And hopefully I'll see you in the next stream. Take care. Bye.